Hi, Janelle. I just want to say from the minute I saw you post your what happened with the tragedy, I just burst into tears, and I've just been with you every minute. Even though I haven't been here calling you, I didn't want to bother you. I know you're swarmed with all your good friends and family, and a lot of the girls at Women in Touch have been thinking about you and asking me how you are and checking in, and we're all here for you, for anything you need, if you want someone just to talk to or go hang out or whatever. And those little girls are just precious, precious things. Treasure all your time with them, and let them feel the life and the love that their dad would want them to have.
Well, Janelle, so here you are in the sisterhood that I would not have invited you to anytime soon. So you'll be okay, we'll be okay. Step forward, like I said, just walk forward. And I'm really glad that I had the chance to talk flying and dachshunds with Jeff.
Hi, Janelle. I just remember very distinctly from the summer regional meetings when Jeff and the girls would be playing in the pool and they'd be having such a great time. And I remember distinctly sitting on the edge of the pool saying, wow, what a wonderful family, and those little girls are going to have such great memories of their dad. And I just thought that was really wonderful and really touched. And just, you know, my heart goes out to you, and whatever we can do to help, just let us know, okay? Thank you. Take care, honey.
Hi, this is for Skylar, Peyton, and Janelle. I knew Jeff from Edward Jones, and I just want to share that he was such a great guy. He came up to me and my wife, Hillary, and he would always talk to us. We had so much fun listening to him and his stories and hearing him laugh. He made us laugh and made us comfortable. He always made everyone around him comfortable. And you know what, the story about him making sure everyone's having fun, that is correct. And Jeff, I am going to miss you. I do want you to know that you're in my heart.
Hi, I'm Karen Duvall, and I work with Jeff in Mojave and for the last 6 years, and it's been wonderful, wonderful experience. I've also enjoyed sharing the information about Santa Clarita Valley because my brother lived in San Francisco Canyon for 20 years, so this was really refreshing. God bless. You're in our thoughts and prayers. Love you.
Hi, girls. It's Sarah Resnick. I've had such great memories with your dad. Your dad and your mom and I have grown up together with our work, and you and I have had some great times together with some great trips in Dana Point and San Diego, and our last trip in San Diego was awesome. We got to go on the boat with your dad and your mom, and you girls got to drive the boat with your dad, and he helped you be pilot of our ship. And your dad is an amazing, amazing man, and he loves you so much, and he loves your mom so much, and we are really going to miss him. And I love you girls, and I'm here for you whenever you need me, and we're going to miss your dad forever.
Skylar and Peyton, my name's Melissa. I met your dad through your mommy's work. We worked together at Edward Jones, and the thing I kept remembering most today is how he danced with you all night at our summer regional, and he kept playing over and over my head how much he loved you and how he would look at you too and entertain you too and how much fun he had doing it. Good luck to you too and everything.
Hi, Skylar. Hi, Peyton. My name is Diana Reyes, and the thing that stands out to me about your father is not just the way that he loved you, and you guys could be climbing all over him, and he would be talking to 5 different people, and he was just like so attentive, doing 3 things at the same time. But he was also a very engaging person, and he was a great storyteller. And the first time I met him, he told us a story about his first day at the Air Force Academy, and he kind of felt like a fish out of water. And everybody was just so serious, and the instructor walked in, and he was just like, gosh, what's the big deal? It's not like this is rocket science. And the instructor says, I'm a rocket scientist. This is rocket science. We all laughed, and that was the first time that we met your father, and he just was such an endearing man. And whenever he spoke to you, he just looked you in the eye, and he was so interested in what you had to say. Skylar and Peyton, your father loved you so much. He will be missed.
Hi, my name is Bob Kay, and I just wanted to say, give my best to Janelle and the girls. I didn't know Jeff a long time. He actually replaced me at BAE Systems. I'd been the program manager and the F4 test pilot, and I had been injured, so I couldn't fly anymore. And then Jeff took my job and did a whole lot better than I did. He was a tremendous individual. He is what everybody has said. He was a very kind person. He cared a lot about others. He was an exceptional aviator, very gifted, very skilled, and the loss that everybody feels is indescribable. The testimony, I think many of us feel that we wonder what our funerals will be like, and I don't mean this in a macabre way. In fact, there's actually a very famous author who has suggested that people, when they live their life, determine how they live their life, that they think about their funerals and what they want people to say. And when you look at how many people were at the ceremony today and all of the things that were said, if anybody doubts that Jeff had a life well lived, those doubts should be put aside. He had a life very well lived, his priorities were right, and he will be missed greatly. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Liz Rogas, and I worked with Jeff at BAE Systems. I worked in contracts, and we worked together on the QF4 program. One of my favorite memories is that when, Skylar, you were about 3 years old, your dad brought you to BAE Systems to meet some of his coworkers and to see where he worked. And you were way more excited about the picture of my horse that was hanging by my desk than you were in the airplanes. And I thought that was great. My other good memory of Jeff was his doing flybys and setting off all the car alarms in the parking lot. So he was a great guy. We really loved him.
So I think the first time I met Jeff, we were in Colorado, and he went to the Air Force Academy with my husband, and I went to Colorado State, and he and Janelle came up to visit me at my apartment. They all came, and then we went skiing together. And Jeff, like, the way he drove, we just were laughing so hard. It was complete New Yorker, just tearing around these mountain passes on these icy roads, just I was completely freaking out in the back seat. I'm like, I didn't know. It was the craziest driving, but we made it, and we made it quickly, and it was fine, and he was perfectly safe, and that was how I got to my first impression of him. Was just like a total whirlwind, and we had a blast with him, and we really loved Jeff.
Hello, I'm John Dyer. I knew Jeff back at the Air Force Academy, so I met him in 1993. We immediately both hit it off because we both enjoyed flying, and we were both history majors, and we shared a lot of the same classes together. We even roomed together on occasions in the summer when we taught the soaring program. And the things that I remember about him were he had an insatiable sweet tooth. He loved his Mountain Dew. He loved his Little Debbie fudge rounds. I never seen anybody eat so many Little Debbie fudge rounds, but above that, he's a hard worker. When I think of him as being a grinder, blue-collar worker. I've never seen anybody work as hard as he did and succeed as well as he did. It didn't matter if it was a physical challenge or a mental challenge or teaching a guy how to fly. He was always willing to put in the extra work, spend the extra time with that person, and I know that I am proud to be able to call him my friend. I wish I could have a friend like that everywhere I went. He's the kind of guy you wish you could take with you everywhere you go, and we're going to miss him. We love him. We love you guys, and we're just glad that we could be here to celebrate his life. That's all.
Hi, my name is Cecil Whaley. I used to work with Jeff at BAE. He was our chief pilot, came in, and I was the training manager. and he worked about 2 doors down from me. So we got to be close friends because we worked together a lot. We worked together all the time in training issues with the government, maintenance programs, and he was just when you first meet Jeff, you think he has an ego, but when you really get to know him, you find out that he just has a passion for what he does. He had a passion for flying, he had a passion for people, and a passion for his family. And he was just a great guy to work with, and I enjoyed knowing him in the short period of time that I did, about 7 years. So he was a wonderful man, and I know that you can appreciate this when you see this. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, well, I got a chance to get to know Jeff years ago when Janelle joined Edward Jones, and there's a image that sticks in my mind was pretty special about Jeff and the girls. We were at a summer regional, and we had just finished a meeting in a conference room, so there was a lot of formal people with clothes on and formal clothes. And Jeff was walking with the girls, one in each arm. He was wearing flip-flops, some Bermuda shorts, an old T-shirt, and walking down the hallways of this fancy hotel, just loving the fact that his girls were holding on to him and walking through the hallways. But he was also lost, which was interesting for Jeff, because Jeff never gets lost at anything. And he was asking me which way was the pool, and he was clearly in the wrong spot. So I remember the girls just jumping up and down, having a good time with him, holding their hands. But I remember him just enjoying the journey rather than where he was going more than anything. So that's one image that always sticks in my mind and always will. And I hope the girls remember how much their dad loved them and how much they meant to him. And the other memories I have were playing with them by the pool, bringing them virgin drinks that they could enjoy, practicing hula hooping with them, dancing with them, just having a good time and really being a great dad. So I hope they remember that always like I do.
Hi, I didn't know Jeff very well, but at the summer regionals, especially this last one, Janelle had won some awards, and I remember looking over at him, and it was so obvious how much he loved her and how incredibly proud of her that he was, and I'll never forget that.
Hi, my name is Ryan Lazinski, and my wife Amber and I served with Jeff in the Air Force. We were stationed in Okinawa, Japan with him, and Janelle was in my squadron, and Jeff was in my wife Amber's squadron. And we had the best time in Okinawa. There was one time where we all got the chance to take a business trip together to Korea, and we had a really nice meal. And your dad was such a great storyteller, and I just remember being in awe of all the stories and embellishments that he had. He was just a fantastic man and a fantastic person, and we really enjoyed getting to know him on that trip and then afterwards. My wife loved serving with him and loved working with him, and we just wish you the best, and I hope you have wonderful memories of your daddy as well.
I'm Tom Cronley, and my wife Tracy and son Bennett and daughter Marin are here, and we have met Jeff and Janelle through Edward Jones, and the thing that we really have always enjoyed is meeting the families, and Janelle and Jeff have a beautiful family, and your daughters got to play with our children, and we really loved that. The thing that always struck me was Jeff was always so willing to kind of talk to me about his flying. My background is flying as well, and I quickly realized what a stud pilot he was, and despite that, still hung around with the likes of me. We really love your family, and we'll always love your family. Thank you very much.
Plenty of people whose asses I could kick, but I could never kick his. There's two, Cat, I know. So some stories about Igor. I cannot believe in all those speeches that happened in the service earlier, not one person said "dude," because Igor can make a sentence or 8,000 different versions of the word "dude" and 8,000 different meanings. And it was just every time I saw him, dude, you know, you're like, what is going on with you, man? You've got some kind of dude issue. So, dude, I do love you, dude. I'm not Rebecca's dad. So the only story that I can think of that exemplifies the other part of Igor's in my career, other than getting our butts kicked in every upgrade in the F-15 together, was our gambling issues in Vegas. In a 2.5-year time together in Vegas, the two of us went TDY 11 times to Nellis, so that's a lot of times in Vegas, and we gambled a lot. Igor was infamous for the crow bet. I'm assuming he had a Cox bet or something at Kadena too, but the 60th Fighter Squadron, every time Igor felt like it, he'd yell out, "Crow bet," and we'd all throw down $60 on whatever hands we were playing, sometimes all hands between the two of us, so we were throwing down about $180, $200, something like that each time. So anyway, I was having a large night. Igor and I had taken the commander's car with the promise we'd have it back to him by 7 in the morning, because that's when he had to go fly. We get in a casino, and as everybody knows, if you've ever gambled there, there's no clocks and there's no windows. And we start gambling. I start gambling. Igor was there to cheer me on. And you probably might not know about this one. Probably the only time Igor's ever been grounded in his career. So we could gamble. I'm up $8,000 or so at Binion's Horseshoe, and we got comped so many meals. So Igor's doing it. We can't go now, dude. You're hot. So I think we ate 3 or 4 times during that night, which should have been some kind of indication of how long this thing was going. Go back to the tables. I end up losing that plus $2,000 of my own, to the point where your credit card or your ATM machine says you cannot get any more money, and I went up with credit cards, and they gave me 2 or 3 of those and then said stop. But he kept encouraging me to double up to catch up, and that didn't work so well. And I was playing 5 hands at one time, which is also really dumb. So anyway, long story short, we walk outside, and the sun's up, and it's not just up, it's up. It was about 12:30 in the afternoon. We started at maybe 5, and so the night before. So we ended up getting grounded when we finally got to the squadron. The commander was not real happy with us, and he set us down for a couple days at Nellis, which is not really a smart thing when you think about what we did with our downtime, which was gambling and losing more money in Vegas. So that's really it. To keep it happy and cheerful, Igor's a brother, and we love him like a brother, and always will. So who's next, Cass?
With Igor and became friends with Janelle in Florida back in 2006. No funny stories, but when I was on the way here thinking about the things that Igor taught me without actually trying to teach me something, just by what he does. When I was thinking about transitioning from active duty to the Air National Guard at Eglin, I told Igor, I'm like, hey, I think go check out this unit that's transitioning to F-15s up in Great Falls, Montana. And it's like, Great Falls, Montana? Who goes up there? And so he encourages me to do it. He says, you know what, that sounds like a really good deal. Maybe I better check it out too. Do you mind if I go with you and look at the unit and see what it's all about? And I was like, oh, I love the company. And so it was a good weekend, and it's just the two of us, meeting the guys in the unit and drinking a lot of booze. And then it didn't strike me right away, and it should have, but I realized a month or 2 later that he never had any intention of going to that unit up there. He just wanted to go and support me. And that's what he did, all the time. Other thing that stuck out to me was when I got to weapons school eventually, a bit older, late bloomer. You guys were already, I think, up in Oregon, correct? Or maybe here, I'm not sure, but he called me to check on me. I hadn't talked to him for a while, but like the guys said earlier, guys just kind of operate that way. You don't talk for 2 years, but then you talk for 10 minutes and you're caught up and you're as good of friends as you always were. I had just gone through a divorce and everything and got remarried about a year and a half later, which I guess is maybe sometimes taboo to some friends. And so I felt the need to kind of preemptively explain to him what was going on in my life. And he just stops me. He's like, dude, are you happy? I said, yeah, I'm very happy. He's like, well, that's all I care about. You don't have to explain things to me. You're happy, right? I'm happy for you. I'm happy too. And that was a rare thing during some tough times in people's lives, but that always stuck out. So it's those lessons that he taught me he wasn't standing in front of me in a briefing room or instructing me, but the way he lived his life taught me a lot. And I'll never forget that. Sorry, no funny stories, but those are the ones that stuck out to me. So.
Well, I think I might be the lone BAE, ex-BA guy in the room. Not that I work very much, so I don't care. So Igor and I, we knew each other, a couple, 3 stories here that kind of paint a picture of how I knew him. So I was in the Air Force, I was a flight test engineer, but our paths never crossed. I found out after you got hired that we knew a lot of the same dudes. So I mean, you guys will get this at this table, right? Like when you're air crew and you're in the military, Janelle, you get this as well. There's dudes and there's bros, right? There's a difference. And Igor was a bro. When he got hired, his interview process, typically the way we did it at BAE was, you walk into the conference room and all the corporate executive dudes, they sit there with their suits on, they try to, talk important, feel important, be important. And, there's Igor, right? And I didn't know who he was. But the way we did it was our general manager would say, hey, so Bob, like after the interview process is done, the formal part in the morning, take him out to lunch and like dress him down. Like go to lunch, let your hair down, just hang out and find out who this dude really is, right? So that was the standard thing we did. And then I would come back after lunch and I would report back to our corporate executive guys. I'm like, yeah, he's a POS or, whatever. I mean, that's kind of what we did. And I would say, so we came back and I was like, so we go to lunch, Igor and I go to lunch and, we revert back to our DNA, which is Air Force, air crew. All the acronyms, all the F-bombs, everything. And like it takes that long to revert back to that. It doesn't take long at all. So we get back to the building and I'm like, you need to hire this dude. Like he's legit. Like he's the guy. Like and from a selfish perspective, you need to hire him because there's only one of me in this building and it sucks, right? Like I want another dude that I could drop F-bombs with every day at every staff meeting. Like I want to party with this guy. I want to hang out with him. I want to work with him. It's going to be awesome, right? So he gets hired and you guys. I mean, I only knew Igor from when did he start working at BAE? It's 2000. Yeah. So you guys have known him way longer than I have. Comedians are only funny if the crowd is laughing. Every staff meeting, there was a comedian in the room, and either it was him or it was me, and us two were the only two laughing. And the one thing that Igor always used to say, which no one in the conference room ever got, and if you guys get into corporate America out of the military, well, some of you guys are already there, it sucks. Right? Like you can't. There's no hanger flying. There's no drink. There's no drinking beers in the office at 3. Even though that happened on occasion on a Friday at BAE. We're in these staff meetings every week, and Igor said this more than a few times, and no one in the room ever got it. And the standard line was, "Dude, if you look around the room and you can't find the a-hole, it's probably because it's you." And I would laugh when he said it, he would laugh when I said it, and no one else ever got it. But that was Igor. The other thing was I sent an email to Janelle. She was never around for our happy hours at Golden Cantina. I used to live in Roseman. I got out at Edwards, and Igor and I were like kings of Cadillac margaritas at this place. I would drink 5, he would do 8. I tried to keep up. After 5, I was done. And I said it made him look like a bee. So he would take these orange slices and throw them in my glass. And I would have this glass full of orange slices after a couple, 3 margaritas. And unbeknownst to me, till 6 or 8 happy hours down the road, evidently, I'm single, right? So evidently he had told all the girls in the bar and the waitresses in the bar that these margaritas were virgin margaritas. And I don't drink alcohol, and I'm faking it. right? So thanks, I appreciate that. So I mean, I didn't know Igor in the Air Force, but I mean, all I know is this, when he was wearing a bag, and if I was wearing a bag, and we would have been in the same squadron together or something, probably would have gotten in a lot of trouble. And that's the best thing I could say about him. He's just a freaking great dude, great bro. So.
I knew Jeff from the academy, so I met him back in 1993 when he first started, and I did. We both kind of immediately hit it off. We had we both majored in history, and then we both had a passion for flying, and he also had a sweet tooth, which just cracks me up. I see that, but I was from I came there from Texas. So meeting somebody from New York was kind of like a novelty act for me. And I definitely didn't know there was any such thing as upstate New York, as he'd like to point out, as Shane has mentioned before. But so just some of the funny things that I can remember with him was he and I one summer we had a soaring. We taught soaring together, so we roomed together, and he really did have this speak to thing. He loved these things called these Little Debbie fudge rounds, and I've never seen anybody eat something that I go fudge rounds over the course of several weeks, but he loved those things, and he also loved Mountain Dew. And I think by the end of the 3 weeks, he had this Mountain Dew pyramid that went all the way up to the top of our dorm room. And I just remember sitting there thinking, "Holy cow! I didn't know you could drink that much Mountain Dew." But he could, and he did, and that was definitely part of his charm. Maybe while he was always so full of energy, and that was the other thing was he had a lot of energy. He approached just about everything he did with a certain type of intensity and meticulousness. And my style is a little more laid back than his, and so we're definitely kind of yin and yang in a lot of different things. But I remember one time we would work on projects together for history or maybe some other classes, but I'd always see him, and he'd come bouncing in, kind of like has been described, and it's like, "Have you done this? Have you done that? Got to make sure we do this, we do that," and I just was like, whoa. I remember one time I told him, I'm like, "Jeff, you remind me sometimes because he has this intensity. I go, you remind me of like a shaky little dog. I'm just like, you're always just like bouncing around trying to get people to do stuff, and I'm like, slow down, And he thought that was hysterical. I remember, and so that used to be a joke that we would share. Then whenever I'd act like that, he'd be, of course, quick to bring that up in my, for me, like, "Hey, you acting like a shaky little dog or what?" So those are definitely good memories. We spent one weekend. We went to the up into the mountains with Janelle and him and my wife Katie, who's over there. But again, my wife, she's from Texas too, and so it was. I just remember it was snowing that time. I went up into the mountains, and I was trying to follow Jeff, and I mean. First of all, I wouldn't have driven that fast. I mean, when it snows in Texas, it's like, it's a state of emergency and everybody just kind of gets off the road. But I'd never seen anybody drive like that through the mountain pass when it was snowing. And I don't think, even if I knew anyone in Texas, they would, when it was snowing, that would drive like that. But he just, he lived life to the fullest. I think he must have learned that maybe in upstate New York, maybe on the back roads or something. But it was impressive. And my wife and I, every time we get in the mountains, we're always like, do you think we could, do you think Jeff Percy would be driving like passes right now? Or do you think, or do you think we've gotten better, mountain driving in the snow? But there's a lot of things that have been shared that my wife and I have talked about as well, just because we both knew him. Of course, we knew Janelle too at the Air Force Academy, and just some things that I remember because I saw him a lot and I talked to him a lot. I remember how excited he was about spending time with Janelle, just like how much that meant to him, and she was a big part of his life, and I'm sure everybody knows that and has gotten that feeling. And so that was definitely a big part of his world, and we all know that he'll be missing his family, and his family will miss him. But I think to myself that he was the kind of guy that was a world-class act. I used to fly A-10s at Osan, and so I'd bring some airplanes down to Kadena and he would always be real generous to host us and put us up and do everything that he could just to bring us into that squadron, the bats that he was in at the time, and it was just an over-the-top effort. Just like you've heard about, and it was always like that. It was just always like that. It was never anything less than that. It was always everything he could give you. Keep the shirt off of his back, and he just was a world-class act. I've said to my wife many times, he's the kind of friend that you wish you could take anywhere in the world that you were. You wish you had a guy like that with you, because he was a special guy. He'll be missed. I know by all of us. Me in particular, was always known that if I ever got in trouble, if I ever called him, if I had to pick up the phone and call him, I would just know that he would be there at a moment's notice to do everything he could to help you. So it's sad for me personally to see him go. I'll miss him. Of course, I love his family. I love Janelle. Just seeing his kids, I can see him and his kids. And this is the first time I've gotten to actually meet his children, but I see him and them, which is obviously special. So. Anyways, that's all I want to share about Jeff. So thank you.
I didn't know Jeff all that well. I mean, Janelle works for the company that I work with, and Jeff and Janelle and the family, have been part of our family for the last 3 or 4 years. And Jeff and Janelle, every summer our company has what we call a summer regional. And they too always were the best dressed. We always had a theme party, and you guys always won, and we're always the best dressed. And I remember the first one that I think you went to was Santa Barbara, and actually it was the second one. And you guys were dressed for the 70s, and you took away the prize for the best dressed. But that's part of it, and I always remember those things from Jeff and Janelle and the girls. Everybody knew Jeff was a pilot and was very proud of being a pilot. And he was never ashamed or
Where are you going?
always took an opportunity to make sure people were aware of that fact that he was a pilot and he flew F-16s. At our last summer regional, we asked him to be on our spouses panel. And we had 3 people on the spouses panel, and one of them was my wife, and another one was another financial advisor, and Jeff. And a couple of questions we were asking was, one of the questions we asked is, so when somebody asks you what your spouse does for a living, what do you say? How do you answer that question? Well, of course, Jeff went into it, and we all know Jeff can talk as well. So he went into it and started talking about a couple of things of what Janelle does. And somehow he spun it around to say, it's like the way when I'm in a fight in a F-16 and how I become a pilot in that. So it was just always amusing to me that he took those opportunities. And I'm sure you guys can take advantage of those laughs. But it was always funny to me. And he was a proud person, a proud pilot. Hi. So I just wanted to say those things.
He was talking about Igor being a pilot, but what you may not know is that he is an aspiring cook, and he really thinks, and this was, I don't know why he thought this, but that oven baked turkeys were the best turkey. And so this was a long-standing kind of, and the funny part's not really about Igor. The funny part is about what happened in the story. But so we had this big competition at Kadena, the big turkey cook-off. So I'm a fried turkey guy. If you've ever had fried turkey, that's the way to go. So this oven baked turkey, that's not what you want. But so we have this big competition, and in Kadena, what was really great about Kadena, and how we got to be such great friends there, is that everybody's so close-knit. So you're all kind of like locked together. So it's like being in college, but you have money. That's kind of the way to think about it. And you've got nothing to spend it on but booze and hanging out. So, we have this huge party, and, I fry up the turkey. Obviously, the fried turkey won, debatable if you ask Igor. But, we've got him out there, and my next-door neighbor, Egger, comes over, and he really likes the skin. Like, there's the skin on the outside of the turkey, full of grease and everything else. I don't know if you remember this, but the thing that you may not know about this is the funny part was the competition between me and Igor, but really the funnier part was what happened to Egger the next day, because he ate the entire thing and spent the entire entire day on the toilet. And so, like, to this day, it's always a big joke. I'll send, and Igor knew that. So every time I fry a turkey, I'd take a picture of it, and toss him some crap about which one's better. But then I'd also CC it over to Egger so he can remember that day. But it was fun. I still say, even this day, fried turkey's better. Debatable, though.
Well, my name is Barry White, no jokes. I've only known Jeff and Janelle for, it's not even 3 years yet, 2 years. My eldest daughter, McKenna, and Skylar were in kindergarten class together. And I wasn't going to say anything, but over the course of the speeches today, I've learned a lot about Jeff, which explains the only run-in argument, pseudo-argument, that I had with him. About 18 months ago, we went to the beach, and when we arrived, I remember saying to him, well, that was a really good drive. He said, so-so. I said, what do you mean? I said, I was 20 miles an hour over the limit the whole way. We didn't, hit any traffic light. It was a great drive out to the beach. He says, it's not that you weren't driving fast enough, Barry. It's just you weren't efficient enough at driving. What the heck does that mean? And then he went into this it was like combat mission. But if you'd taken this car just a wee bit quicker on this corner here, and a wee bit slower on this one, and you would have been past that car, we'd have been here at least 8 minutes earlier if you were just a bit more efficient at driving. And I never thought anything of it. Hearing all the stories today about him flying, I guess he was instructing me how to drive. Once the instructor, always the instructor, right? So, yeah, that was it.